A badge of honor. Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But that's not how it feels today, and the stress of the job is taking its toll, taking lives through suicide and post-traumatic stress injury. A Badge of Honor podcast features the cast of the same name, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno. Sam, John, and the team offer the first responders workshops through their critical incident stress management teams and mental health liaisons to offer state-certified T-COLE credit programs that save lives. It's time to smash through the stigma. It's time to heal from your injury, and it's time to back our blue. Welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast. Here are your hosts, Sam Horwitz and John Salerno.
Hey, welcome to A Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam. We are powered by the OBBM network, Freedom Network, that lets us speak our mind, and thanking all our veterans for what they gave us, for the things that they did to allow us to be here today. Hey, welcome, Sam. How are you?
Good. I think, are you trying to turn into an avatar or something?
I don't know why my screen just started glitching like that.
Yeah.
It's weird. We're not supposed to be getting weather or anything like that, but I'm doing that whole little retro thing, I guess.
I think you might have said some magic words. Maybe they're just messing
I
with
said freedom. I used freedom, and now they're starting to glitch me out, you know?
On any given day. Hey, this is welcome everybody. Wherever you are watching on your favorite podcast app, we welcome you to another amazing episode. And this month's series is Memorial May, in honor of Memorial Day. And part of that, John and I made a commitment, 3 years ago, to feature nonprofit partners from an organization that we are nonprofit partners with, that we've been involved with. I've been involved with since 2015. They are near and dear to my heart, that being Carry the Load. And you see their logo down on the screen there.
Yeah, and Carry the Load, there are so many great organizations. Carry the Load, I think, really puts the cherry on the top of everything, because it brings so many different organizations together as one, and it lets everybody network, raise money for our missions. And they're so well organized, and from 5 different places around the country, people walk, and they all meet right here in Dallas on Memorial Day weekend. So that it's amazing. It's open to all families, and you don't have to be part of an organization. You can just come and experience our veterans and our first responders, and support the families that lost. And speaking about the families that we lost, this week is Police Week, National Police Week. It's the 36th annual Police Week that they hold in New York, in Washington, D.C. Sam, I don't know if you've ever been there.
God forbid they ever hold it there in New York. No,
not New York. But I don't know if you've ever been to Police Week in New Jersey, in Washington. But I was there back when I was on the job, and it's pretty emotional. This year they're putting, I think, I don't want to screw up the numbers, they're adding 282 names to the wall this year. 118 of those are from last year, from the previous year. But that's when you think about that, 282 more names in 1 year going onto a wall. That's 282 families that lost a loved one because of the job that they do and they perform each and every day. So I want to give a big shout out to all of our law enforcement officers out there who are really battling. Once again, we're back in 2020 again. We got all these college crap going on. We're pulling resources from every different direction, and the natural civilians, the regular civilians that are trying to get through life, are really being denied police protection, because we're sending hundreds and hundreds of police officers to these self-entitled children over at the colleges, and it's really getting bad. So our prayers, our thoughts, and everything else goes out to you guys. Thank you for doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, absolutely. And our guest on the podcast is he's in law enforcement as well, locally here in the North Texas area. And I just think everything kind of like culminated at the same time. We've got National Police Week. We've got Carry the Load, which honors our active duty, our veterans, and our first responders. And part of what Carry the Load does is they have an amazing ambassador program, and these folks come from all walks of life, different backgrounds, to really further the one mission of getting the word out there. And so let's welcome to the podcast, Aaron White. Welcome to a Badge of Honor podcast.
Hello, thanks for having me.
How you doing, Aaron?
Doing well, thank you.
Yeah, you got a title, Aaron, with a USMC veteran, law enforcement officer, an entrepreneur, Aaron White. Give him the title that he deserves.
Well, absolutely. And I was going to say, Aaron, after I said welcome, is please tell everybody watching and listening about your background, because it really is neat, and we'll get more into it after you share.
Well, I'm a little bit of a journeyman, right? I kind of follow my heart, and that's how I end up in a lot of these places. So, yes, I started this journey kind of as a Marine, and so joined the Marine Corps right out of high school, which was ended up being an incredible decision for me. Right, it was. I think had I gone to college out of high school, I would have wasted my parents' money and probably been sitting back on their couch after the first semester. So I needed a little direction in my life, and the Marine Corps really took me in and gave me all of the tools that I needed as we moved forward. And then moving out of the Marine Corps, there was always kind of a void. It's a tough transition to make, right? When you're leaving something like the Marine Corps, as you make that transition into the civilian world, you try to find something that's going to make you happy. And so ultimately, thanks to my history in the Marine Corps and the leadership and all of that good stuff that I was able to walk away with, was able to start my own business. And so I ran my own business for a long time and still do. That is great as well. And in restaurants, they're restaurants, and it's a great thing to have. But ever since I left the Marine Corps, there was a hole, right? There was a piece missing, and there was a hole in my heart, really. And so Carry the Load came along about the right time. As Carry the Load started kicking off, that kind of helped fill that void, fill that hole in my heart, because it put me out there with a bunch of other like-minded people, and allowed me to tell stories and talk and hear stories, and a lot of time that's what you need for healing, and it's so good and so healthy for so many people. And then, as I continued on, Carry the Load was great, but I wanted something to fill that void that actually paid me. So I get so much satisfaction, and I've been so successful with Carry the Load, and I love it. But finally, I made the decision around COVID. One of the jokes I tell when people ask why I decided to become a police officer at an elevated age, is that right around COVID time, they canceled live PD. So on TV. So I couldn't watch it on TV anymore. So I guess I had to go do it. And, so it gave me an opportunity to, that gave me the kick in the rear that I needed to make the decision to be a police officer. And I'll tell you what.
I had the same experience with Magic Mike that I just felt I needed to do it.
That's right. And so I'll tell you what, it really did. That kind of filled that void and that empty feeling that I've had ever since I left the Marine Corps. And here we are. So.
Aaron, you brought up a good point. When you left, you had that base with the MC, with the Marine Corps, for a sense of service, a purpose in life. That's right. That's what they give you. After you leave this, and so many veterans feel this in so many different ways, is they lose their why, right? They feel like, okay, it's over. There's nothing more to achieve. But Carry the Load really brought that back, right? And it wasn't that you were serving with Carry the Load, like, to a point, but you were involved in it at the initial point, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it was I know you've been around a long time with Carry the Load, and you've kind of seen the transition. But what was so cool is, there were other organizations doing things for veterans that were, good organizations. I think some of them focused on selling T-shirts a little more than helping veterans and things like that. I'm not knocking anybody, but that's I needed something that I felt like I was making a difference. And at the time when they came up with the idea to select nonprofit partners or select beneficiaries each year, that we could work hard, earn this money, earn these donations, and then donate that money equally to these selected beneficiaries. And when you see the percentage of the donations, I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's something like 97% that Carry the Load donates straight back to the existing veteran-based nonprofits. And when I realized that there were so many mom and pop style, veteran-based and first responder-based organizations that were doing incredible work, like you guys, right? That doing incredible work, but weren't necessarily or were severely underfunded. And so if we were able to make a splash and raise a lot of money and donate this money to these existing veteran-based nonprofits, the people actually doing the work, I felt like we were making a much bigger splash, a much bigger difference.
Well, you certainly are making a big splash and a huge difference. We've got to take our first break. So stay tuned. We'll be back with Aaron White from Carry the Load and the police department. Can I say the police department? Because we want to give a huge shout out. Sure. Hey, Plano, thank you so much for what you do just up the road from me. We'll be right back, everybody. Stay tuned.
Move freely, America, without medical restrictions or penalty. Without medical freedom legislation in place, our rights and freedoms are one vote away from being dissolved. Move freely, America, with one voice, without fear of retribution, achieving a common goal, medical freedom. We the people make our voices heard by connecting with state legislators and engaging a constitutionally compliant medical Bill of Rights for all citizens. Individually, change is improbable, but as an aggregate, attainable. It's time to act with one voice. My voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
And my voice.
To protect our freedom, creating one voice that cannot be ignored. This requires your voice, too. Move Freely America. Go to movefreelyamerica.org to find a chapter near you. Plug in, donate, and help our legislators defend our God-given rights under the Constitution. Move Freely America. My voice.
And my voice.
And together with your voice, we're one voice that cannot be ignored. Donate today. MoveFreelyAmerica.org.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam, with our special, very special guest, U.S. Marine Corps law enforcement officer, entrepreneur, Aaron White. Now that's an introduction.
I appreciate it.
If you're just joining us now, our little recap is, Aaron is an ambassador for Carry the Load. He has served in our military. He is an entrepreneur, 40 under 40, and he is a Plano police officer here in Texas. And, Aaron, what really strikes me looking at your bio and looking at everything about you, you really kept yourself in the game, so to speak. You didn't let the couch suck your ass up, and watch Judge Judy. You went out there and you're making a difference. And, even though maybe you're not serving in the military, you're still serving those who serve. And that really fills some of the voids that a lot of us lose and we don't know how to replace. And you're definitely an inspiration to so many veterans and first responders out there to say, hey, listen, I can just keep moving forward, though I may not be on the battlefield, but I'm in the trenches with everybody else doing the same thing. So thank you.
Absolutely. It's so important to take everything that you learn and hold on to it. A lot of people will. I joined the Marine Corps when half of the people in the Marine Corps were there on court order, right? That
Yale or Marines.
That's right. So I wasn't one of those. I just I served with a lot of those guys, and it was so cool to see so many of these guys turn their lives around, and the Marine Corps gives you so many tools and the ability to change your life and move your life forward. So it was a great opportunity, and you're right. I held on to all of those tools and used them in every aspect of my life.
Yeah, I want to touch on something that you said before, and part of what we do in our workshops is talk about whether you did transition from the military to becoming a first responder and what that separation period looks like. And we've had authors on and professionals on to talk about the need to have more out there where our personnel, and I say personnel because, you know, if you wear the badge as well and then you transition out of law enforcement, you have that void that you're needing to fill. And I think carry the load. I mean, it is at the top of my list, because when I moved to Texas, first of all, I moved here to get, it's, you know, left law enforcement, needed a change pace of lifestyle coming from the East Coast. And I found it here. And then I also had a business on the side, and was like, I still had that in the back of my head, like, nobody really gets me. Like, everybody thinks it's cool, you know, oh, you stand next to president, dark glasses, suit, you know, Secret Service, that whole thing. But they don't get it. And I happened to be introduced to a retired Garland police officer, Rod Gregg, who is now on staff with Carry the Load. All of these first communications and first teams that I was on led me down a path of not only connection, but that we're sitting here today being nonprofit partners with you all. Because if it wasn't for Rod, who brought me into his team for Carry the Load, and being down at Reverchon Park and meeting Dion from Travis Manion Foundation and listening to Travis's dad tell his story, then meeting Travis's sister and Amy Looney on the Katy Trail, and getting involved in the whole nonprofit world, and starting to understand. And it's like, hey, these are the people, these are my people. I want to be connected here. And it just started a journey to where now, with John and our other John and Jeff, who've had their own experiences also separately with Carry the Load, for all of us to be able to come together and now be in that, you know, that awesome tent with all of the other nonprofit partners, getting to talk to them, to have a shared experience, to learn about them. Carry the Load does a tremendous job, not only helping us to continue to fulfill that purpose, or maybe that void that we're filling, that we have, but to create a community that is spread across the United States, that has now culminated. We went from 2 relays. It's now 5 relays, 20,000 miles. Aaron, can you talk a little bit about how it just morphed into
the growth?
Yeah, this giant connection. It is a giant connection piece for all of us.
Yeah, for sure. And so you'll know, if you've had other ambassadors on, we all kind of have our own memories of how this started, right? And things are burned into my head that clearly everybody may remember something a little bit differently, but yeah, from the beginning, you know, it Carry the Load. I don't know if you've already covered this, but you know, Carry the Load started as a way to restore the true meaning of Memorial Day, and then it morphed over time into providing active ways to connect Americans with the sacrifices made daily by veterans, first responders, all the heroes out there that are making a difference every single day, you know. And so when that first event kicked off, 2011, you know, I think there were some stories kicked around about how they were going to kick it off and how we were going to get going. But, you know, it started as a relatively small event. I think there were 250 people at that first event to start this 20-hour walk. And, you know, we all thought it's got to be 2 Navy SEALs to be crazy enough to come up with the idea to walk for 20 hours on Memorial Day. But so, you know, people kind of moped out there and we're ready to walk. But when you get a couple miles into that thing and you start leaving pain on the concrete with every step that you take, you shed some of that weight, you know, that load that you carry. And so it became refreshing. And so the further you went, the more refreshing it became for all of these veterans out there where Memorial Day is normally a painful day for these guys, and it turned into something they can look forward to. and get together with, like I said, like-minded people. And it's not easy when you're 40 miles in the middle of the night, and it doesn't feel good, but you've got that training, and that's the purpose. You're there to carry that load for those heroes that can't carry it for us anymore. So it was a great opportunity. Now the relays came a couple years later. It was really neat once that first event kicked off. Raised some money. I think Carry the Load raised $25,000-$30,000 that first year, which was a pretty impressive feat considering we had 200 people there. After that first year, we immediately had a few cities asking, "Hey, can we do this in our city too?" And fortunately, Stephen and Clint and those guys were tapped the brakes, and they said, "Okay, this really has legs. Let's take a step back and organize this thing, get it going the right direction before we consider letting other cities come on." And then sometime around that time, they had a friend that was getting out. He was a SEAL as well, and they worked out this idea. He was up in West Point, and he worked out this idea to leave at the beginning of May and walk to Dallas. So they rented an RV and got a couple guys to go with them, and they walked from West Point, New York to Dallas over the course of May, which was really the birth of Memorial May for us, right? And so it was really neat and really moving, and there were so many different things. We had a guy the night before one of those early events leave Waco and run from Waco to Dallas, and he ran 100 miles and ran into Carry the Load at the closing ceremonies, high-fived everybody, climbed into an ambulance, and went to the hospital, which is but it was the tears and the emotion that were involved when he ran past everybody, just the heart and the dedication that people put into this event is pretty incredible. So that one guy who decided to walk from West Point, New York to Dallas with a bunch of other people on a relay kicked off what we now call our national relay. And like you said, it started as two. It started from West Point, and then they added the West Coast, and then they filled in the middle. And now we cover 20,000 miles across all lower 48 states. I haven't figured out a way they're gonna walk to Hawaii and Alaska yet. But
hey, listen, this year you got Heroes on the Water kayaking in.
That's
right.
right.
Oh yeah, you can kayak from the West Coast to
Yeah,
Hawaii.
Somebody from Hawaii wants to kayak in, man.
That's right.
Heroes on the Water.
I don't even like to fly to Hawaii, so I could only imagine a kayak.
There we go.
No.
We'll get the branded plane, and we'll load a couple of people in, and I'm sure everybody from Carry the Load listening now is going, "Oh my God, what are we talking about?" But it is about heart, and it is about dedication, and the entire ambassador crew and all the staff definitely have that. We're going to talk about that and more about how you guys pull this off every year when we come back. We'll be right back, everybody.
Interested in starting a podcast or TV show? Worried about what you'll say and how to keep it engaging? Think you'd like to be a guest on podcast, radio, or TV shows? Hi, I'm Susan Hamilton, owner and founder of OBBM Network, and I would like to invite you to an OBBM media training to get the tools you need for a relaxed and polished performance you'll be proud to share. Our specialized training techniques include role play, voice training, and everything you need to deliver a confident, clear, and engaging interaction. Go to offbeatbusiness.com. Go to the calendar and register for a training that's convenient for you. Dates available now, 214-714-0495.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge Monitor podcast with John and Sam and our special guest, Aaron White, Plano police officer and a United States Marine Corps veteran and an ambassador for Carry the Load. Before we left, we were discussing the hundreds, if not thousands, of people that participate in this walk across the nation from 5 different locations. And, and the guy who ran from Waco. And all I can think in my heart is, we do this for all our non-for-profits and everybody that's going to help our veterans and our first responders. But, when you think about those, the boards the name boards that everybody's carrying during that day, and those family members, when we talk about carry the load, that load is on their shoulders forever. They lost a family member, be it in service or in the police department, or as a firefighter or any emergency field that they work in. So that load is always being carried. And to see so many people care about this one subject, it's got to release a little bit and help the healing process of these families who have lost a husband, a wife, a spouse, a child. And to see a guy who run in from Waco, it's gotta be like, my God, people do care. And it really brings together the caring aspect of, he didn't die in vain. He didn't die alone. All these people are here for him, and that's why we say their names. That's why, when we do the 9/11 Memorial stair climb, we say their names, we carry their pictures, and it's for the families who have lost, and that brings such warmth to a family who is never going to be able to see their loved one again.
You hit the nail on the head, and one of the things that I say when I'm speaking on behalf of Carry the Load and things like that, when I give a speech in places, is I talk about the importance of not letting these heroes die a second death, right? And what I mean by that is they gave it all. They gave it all for this country. They gave it all for every person listening, and that's a terrible thing. But what would be even worse is for people to forget about them, to stop saying their name, and allow them to die that second death. So it is so important to talk about. It's so important with those name boards. And when you go to the event, you guys have walked that trail and seen people stop, even people not involved in the event, stop and read those boards. And that really, I would like to think that gives a little bit of comfort to those families of the fallen that see that their loved one is still being loved.
Yep.
Well,
and those name boards go back to the Vietnam era or prior to that, right?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Some of those name boards have pictures of members in Vietnam and before, right? World War II. I mean, it dates back, right?
Yeah, it's the families will submit their loved ones' names, and the stories are verified and they're posted and things like that. One of the most beautiful things I saw was at all of these events that I've been to was Woody Wilson, the Medal of Honor winner, walking through a Hall of Honor and with tears in his eyes, reading these memorial plaques. So there are so many beautiful things that happen at the Dallas Memorial March, and then now we can spread that across the country. So it's pretty incredible to see a group from the National Relay stop and meet a Gold Star family along the way that walks with them, and it's incredibly emotional. And but it's healing. It's all about healing, right? And it's all about making sure that people are remembered.
Now, we're talking a lot about the Dallas Memorial March because that's where we are, and that's where all of the relays end up. But if the relays are important, if you can't be in Dallas, because if it's coming through your town, you can join in with Carry the Load wherever you live. Aaron, can you tell people how they can kind of navigate, since there's now 5 relays, there's a bigger opportunity for them to do that? How do they find out that information?
Yeah, for sure. So you go to carrytheload.org, and that's you can follow the relay track. So you can there's a map there that shows where all the relays go and the cities that they go through. We also have satellite events that take place in other cities. That some of the ambassadors will go out and assist with and speak at, and it's a great opportunity. But carrytheload.org is a great place to start. You can volunteer, you can donate, and or you could just kind of educate yourself on the event and why we do what we do.
Yeah, a lot of great videos.
By getting out there, get out in the street with the American flag and cheer these guys on as they walk through your town. Support the supporters. They need that as well.
That's right. We loved the idea of this, the national relay. And I think one of the most memorable things for me too was that first city that they walked through. And I've got to be honest, I can't remember what city it was, but they knew we were coming, right? They knew the relay was coming. And the fire department in this small town set up trucks on both sides of the road,
the arch,
and put the arch up over the highway while these guys were walking down. And they planned for weeks to do that. So it was good to know that people were responding, and that was in the early days of the national relay. So it was really pretty cool. And now that we've got some national coverage and the events have gotten a little bit bigger with the national relays, we're getting a little more exposure, which is nice, and it makes it easier for these families to know about the event and how to.
So wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast from, jump on. I've got the carrytheload.org, the ticker going across the bottom of the page, so you won't miss the website. Go on and see where the relay is, because we're in week 3. Just started week 3. So again, if you miss the relay, you can always take part in a community event that may be near your location as well. And I just tell everybody, until they've really been to Dallas to experience those words, bringing back the true meaning of Memorial Day and honoring our heroes and what it means to carry them, you need to come to Dallas. Last year, I think it was more than 10,000 people came through, and it leaves a lasting impact. And there are still people that I met, when I first started back in 2015, that return every year, that are not connected by service. And some of them bring their kids now, and it's like, no, because this is what this country was built on. And if we forget that, because let's face it, there are forces out there that are trying to help, us forget where we are born, what this country is founded on. And we won't forget their names, because every year we say their names, we get to read about them. And unfortunately, we're always adding more storyboards. But with that said, those storyboards don't go away.
That's right. And it's one thing about this event is I have 3 kids, and they've been actively involved in Carry the Load since the beginning as well. And so I've got kids that are 18, 16, and 12, and Memorial Day to my kids is Carry the Load. It's a day to remember, to remember these heroes. And so that's such a valuable thing for kids to get kids involved at an early age. Because in the opening, you mentioned the goings on at the colleges and all of this stuff. You see where, I'll try not to get political here, but
no, please speak your mind.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
You see where this country will go if we don't intervene, as far as our youth. If we just let it go the way it is, people are going to forget about World War II. And there are so many things that happened in history that have made this country what it is, and as great as it is. But you saw online, on the news, you see how crazy some of these kids have gotten about stuff they, to be honest, may not even know about. And so to have at least my 3 kids, and I know all the other kids that go out there, we'll never forget. They'll never they weren't alive at 9/11, but I promise you they won't forget it because it's talked about in our house, and they understand why it happened and what was done afterwards. And so, like I said, Memorial Day is carry the load to my kids, and it's an emotional day for them. And they've got no reason to be emotional other than the fact that they are emotionally invested in our purpose, in our mission.
Also, Aaron, it's a respect thing. It's a respect and honor thing. And that grows a child as well. When he learns to respect and honor somebody else, he respects himself even more, and he honors himself. And it helps a child grow. When you talk about a Memorial Day that's just full of hamburgers and beers and jumping in the pool, the kids have no respect. But when you bring them to carry the load, and they get to meet the families, and they get to see, they learn about empathy, they learn about sympathy, they learn about all these different emotions, and they get to feel them out and go, man, this is just and it builds their inner character. Just like the Marines built you, carry the load builds the inner character of a lot of young minds. And I think it's great that the kids come out there and they see the thousands of flags and the boots overturned and the storyboards, and they get to read and they put a face there. It brings perspective. It's things that our schools don't teach anymore. They've taken this out of the educational programs. So it's like you just said, good or bad, history is history. History is history.
Yeah,
that's right. And so I'm sorry to jump in on you, but that's why there's another program within Carry the Load called Carry the Flag, which is a great opportunity.
And my son did his Aaron, you're going exactly where I wanted to go, but we got to take another quick break. Okay. We'll talk about Carry the Flag when we come back. Stay tuned, everybody.
Look, when you need to respond to an aggressive situation to protect yourself, your family, or your property, understanding your firearm and legal position are critical. Officers know your skills are only as good as your commitment to training. So know what you're doing. So when you're in a vulnerable situation, we can count on your response. Whether you're a beginner or a licensed gun carrier, Carry in Texas offers basic firearms training, Texas permitless carry courses, license to carry, and basic 2A courses so you can understand the responsibilities, situational awareness, and learn the technical skill required when you carry your firearm. Go to carryintexas.com to find the right course for you. Join me, former United States Secret Service agent Samantha Horwitz, on the range for beginner basics, LTC prep, and range practice. Go to carryintexas.com today. That's carryintexas.com.
Hey, welcome back to Badge of Honor podcast with John and Sam, the United States Marine Corps veteran and Plano Police Officer Aaron White. We're talking about Carry the Load and the meaning of Memorial Day. So if you missed any part of this segment, you can always catch us on one of our streaming platforms. But the true meaning of Memorial Day is about remembering. It's remembering those who gave us the chance to be able to give this podcast and to speak freely and have fought for our freedom of speech, and they died for it. They died selfishly for other people that they didn't even know. Selflessly for others. And, this is where we have to rebuild our communities and talk about, you talk about Woody Wilson, and we just lost him, last year or the year before. Yes. I go and I speak with Don Graves, World War II veteran, who is just an amazing speaker, amazing guy to listen to his stories at 17, storming the beaches of Normandy. And, and here we got kids that are sitting on their couches at 26 playing video games, when he fought for our country. And
we got kids out at colleges disrespecting this country. Right. Yeah, that's what we got.
That as well. Actually 16, he lied about his age. He told me he was 16 and when he joined the Marine Corps, and he lost so much, but he's gained so much. And that's what Carry the Load is all about. It's to bring those people, never forget those people, and hold them close to your heart and their families close to your heart. You were talking about Carry the Flag now. Another project within Carry the Load, correct?
That's right. Yeah. So what it really became was we saw that early that these kids had no clue. They were taking prayer at a school and all of this, and the flag is just something that is there as they walk in and as they walk into the building. Nobody understands the importance of how to care for the flag and whatnot. So
they're burning it on college campuses.
That's right. That's right. Because it goes back to that respect piece, and they don't know the meaning. I mean, a lot of you could walk up to probably any kid at this point and ask what the colors of the flag mean, and they would have no clue.
Right.
They're just the colors of the flag, but they all have meaning. And so it's Carry the Flag kind of started as a way to educate and build our nation's youth into something that can carry on the meaning behind the flag for more generations. And so they get volunteers from the schools, these hard charging teachers who are willing to take on one more duty, and they will organize a group of kids that are willing to volunteer and willing to learn about the flag, and Carry the Load provides lessons, lesson plans, and even a flag to fold, and so they go through the history of the flag and the meaning of raising the flag and why they do it at sunrise and sunset, and just all of the rules about, don't fly a flag at night unless there's a light on it, and things like that. And they make it emotional. They're able to build that emotional piece for these kids to help them understand the importance of the flag. Because, when you and I say we did this for our country, realistically, you're doing it for the flag, because that represents our country. And so it's another educational tool to help the youth grow with this country.
And Carry the Load, in addition to Carry the Flag, offers an opportunity to give back all year round. A bunch of years ago, Carry the Load started a September 11th program, and we've been in cemeteries the last 2 years that participated, helping to clean. And this goes on across the country. You also can create your own program. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the Patriots Day program is unbelievable to get out there to these military cemeteries. And what better way to remember names than to get out there and scrub a headstone and really, I don't know how this may sound, but you almost bond with the person's name on the headstone as you work through cleaning it. And it's over the years, some of these things have been forgotten about. And so it's an opportunity to get out there and help clean some headstones and bond with that feeling that this person that I'm cleaning his headstone right now gave his life for me, for our country.
Yeah. And
tremendous stories.
Well, you look at the date. You look at the date on the headstone and you're like, whoa, wait a second. And,
we were just honored to go to the Navajo Nation in New Mexico, where we did some cemetery cleanup for the Code 2 talkers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, when you talk about headstones being broken and kicked over and, flags just tattered because no one took care of them. We went there, we brought about 100 flags in and redid their cemetery and fixed some of the headstones, because like even the Code talkers, this was the Indian nation who helped our World War II veterans,
Well, who helped in World War II. Yeah.
Overcome. There were a lot of things that go on and people don't realize that. And when they see a veteran cemetery with all those flags, they don't understand what it represents.
That's right. That's right. And just the importance of the flag and these kids understanding, we're a little far removed from kids understanding this phrase, but the way I like to explain it is we've all seen Saving Private Ryan, right? and the movie. And you talked about D-Day and the storm of the beach of Normandy and how emotional that scene was in that movie. But that's not really to me, that's not the most important part from that movie. If you watch through that entire movie, at the very end, when he's telling Private Ryan on the bridge, when the captain's about to make his sacrifice, he tells Private Ryan, do you remember what he said at that time?
No.
He says, earn this, earn it. And so over through the course of the movie, you see it at the beginning, you see it at the end, when he's standing in front of those headstones crying, he turns to his wife and says, was I a good man? Did I make a change? Did I make an impression on the world? And he's referring to the captain telling him to earn it. And so if you take that little phrase, earn it, and that's what I try to focus on with Carry the Load. And that's what all of these ambassadors and everybody involved with Carry the Load tries to do, is they try to earn it every day. They try to earn the right to stand under that flag and see the change you're able to make. And so if everybody would just earn it a little bit every single day for this country, then I think the world would be a better place for sure.
That's amazing. We got to take our last break, and we will come back with Aaron White, who is an ambassador with Carry the Load, a police officer, an entrepreneur, and is it okay to call you a proud United States Marine Corps veteran? Well, I always say it's never. You're not you are a Marine, because that's what I was taught. And once a Marine, always a Marine.
You can have an ex-wife. You can't have
You can't
have an ex-Marine.
Exactly. We'll be right back.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced.
To the Health Engineer Show, I'm Cliff Buckley, the Health Engineer, right here on the Offbeat 50.
Hi, I'm Larry Corkamp.
Hi, my name is Susan Hamilton, and you're watching Offbeat. Hi, this is Doreen Milano. Welcome to Big Ideas Small Business, where we will be talking to Carrie Arjala.
Hey, welcome back to the Badge of Honor podcast. We're just about to wrap this up, man, with Aaron White, United States Marine Corps veteran, entrepreneur, and I do want to give you could I give your restaurant a little promo?
Sure.
And you are now with Cowboy Chicken, you said, right?
Right.
Cowboy Chicken, and where are you guys located?
So I have locations in Frisco, Denton, and Irving. And then there are other locations spread throughout the DFW area. So definitely go check it out.
Fantastic.
I did want to say also, I talked about my kids, but I forgot to mention the most important piece that has held this whole thing together with my involvement in Carry the Load is my beautiful wife, who made the mistake of marrying me on Memorial Day and pre-Carry the Load. So our anniversary every year is Carry the Load. So not only are my kids getting that education, but my wife gets to walk for 20 hours on our anniversary.
We going to Rivershine Park again for our anniversary?
You know what, though? You know what? That's Carry the Load's about making memories. And when you can share that kind of memory every single year with, I know it sounds weird, with 10,000 plus other people, because we're all connected here. Over the Dallas Memorial March, over that time, and you can feel it. The energy is completely different, and that's what makes it so incredible. You also, just in the short time left, Carry the Load also has, I think it's the 100,000 mile challenge. I always mix it up. It's a big physical event, and you can find out about that at Rivershine Park as well.
Absolutely, or jump online, and it's a way. If you can't make it to the event, you can participate in the event and log your own miles and go through it that way. So if you're not able to make it down to the event, you're still able to participate in one way or another.
Yeah, so we've been across the bottom of the screen for everybody watching. carrytheload.org. For all of you listening on your favorite podcast app, it is carrytheload.org. All of the information from how to participate in the relay if you're not in Dallas, to the actual schedule for the Dallas Memorial March. You want to be there for opening ceremonies, and you absolutely want to be there for closing ceremonies, to see the storyboard procession. And as I tell everybody, once you experience a Dallas Memorial March, just drive in. If you're within 3, 4, 5, even 5 hours, just drive in, spend Memorial Weekend with us. You will want to come back every year. I promise you that. Aaron, any last words for our veterans, first responders, and active duty personnel out there?
Again, as far as the healing part is concerned, come out and join us with there are so many lost veterans right now that need someone, and they need to know that these nonprofit partners like you guys and all of our other nonprofit partners are there to help. And so reach out to somebody if you need to talk to somebody or need to see somebody. I can rattle off 10 guys who would go meet you for coffee right now. So it's me included. So it's a network of people that clearly the military network is a small network anyway, but we try to make it smaller and know that you're loved and know that we are here for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for spending this hour with us. We look forward to seeing you in just, my gosh, 2 weeks time down in Dallas. And thank you so much, Aaron, for your service to this country, the sacrifices that you make every day as a police officer. Well, I'll just say it, for earning it.
Yeah.
You're carrying on.
And cowboy chicken.
Well, we got to eat too, right? So
yeah.
Yeah. And for the chicken.
That's right. Guys, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Take care. See you soon.
Take care, Aaron.
This was fantastic. Again, as you can hear, we cannot say enough about Carry the Load and the ability, all these years later, to be nonprofit partners with them, to be able to talk about them for the entire year, but specifically in May, and our own fundraising efforts that are going into that. If you haven't seen the posts that John, Jeff, myself, we've put out, as Aaron said, almost 97% of the money that comes in to Carry the Load is turned around, is given back, used for programs to assist our veterans, our first responders, our active duty personnel through the nonprofit partners that you get to meet in person at the Dallas Memorial March. So come out, meet us and the other, I think there's 49 nonprofit partners. And if you can't be there, send us an email, ask questions, get on Carry the Load's website, come out to a community event along the relay route. We want you involved. Let's make this connection bigger than it's ever been. Because again, it's from here. You can feel it. And I say from here, people that are listening are like, what are you doing, Sam? I'm touching my heart when I say that, because we are connected here. For those of you watching on your favorite podcast app or favorite social media app, from Rumble to LinkedIn and everywhere in between, thank you so much for tuning in week over week. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Again, Carry the Load's in week 3. So you can find out more, carrytheload.org, or you can go to our website, which is abadgeofhonor.org. We've got a pop-up right there. You can click on it for more information, how to join our team and actually get involved. And if you'd like to fundraise as part of our team, or just give whatever you can, you can do that through that as well. To all of our first responders out there, we are praying for you. Thank you so much for keeping our communities safe. For our veterans, thank you for fighting the good fight that allows John and I to do a show like this every single week. To our active duty personnel all across the globe, we know you are spread out, you are spread thin. We are praying for your safety. Thank you for keeping the homeland safe here. And John, take us home.
Just want to give a big, just say thank you to all our law enforcement during Police Week. Our prayers are with the family. And remember, you are never, ever forgotten. You will always be held near and dear to mine and Sam's hearts, along with so many others. So thank you for the services of your loved ones.
Yeah, and tell us who you're carrying, because you can do this on as well.
Yes.
Take care, everybody.
Peace.
See you next week.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBM Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBM Network programming information, please call 214-714-0495 today.